They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say for those who have been isolated. Don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, goddammit. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather fly together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. Give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop it.
All right. Well, there's that. So, there we go. Can you see me now, Tiff?
I can
Oh
see
my.
you. It's just a little bit loud over here.
Oh, yes, yes. So, yesterday, guys, if any of you didn't pick that up on that, our good friend Carrie passed away. That's why we weren't on yesterday. She was one that helped us do everything. She was the behind the scenes lady, so she'll be missed. And if you guys have any, we're just looking for, not looking for, but if you feel that you can help her family out in any way, you can get in touch with us. Email me, or I left the Cash App up there. You can Cash App me, and we'll be sure to get any money to her family that gets donated, because I'm sure they would need the help. I mean, she had a 9-year-old autistic, severely autistic little boy that is probably very, very much so missing his mother tonight. So I know that they're going to need some help, and Greg's going to need some help with all of this. So if you guys can find it at your heart right here with Christmas time and help them out, then that would be really cool of you. You don't have to. It's not any pressure, but I'm just saying if you could. So yeah, that's what happened. Any words from you there, Tiff?
No, I just think I think it's horrible. Um, I really want to know what happened, so I'm not really going to say too much until we find out.
That's right. Yep. But in the interim, we all, she would want us to keep this fight going. So that being said, we got Mr. Bain back here with us, and he's ready to tell. And we also got Kim's with us tonight again. So we're gonna bring Kim out with us too. But let's get Mr. Bain and Kim out here, and Mr. Bain, let's take off on the story.
All right. So, hey, I want to thank you again for having me. For those of you that didn't hear the first part of the story, um, CPS saga all the way. So, once again, and many prayers for Carrie's family and son, and hopefully they get all the support they need because I couldn't imagine. It's got to be rough. And speaking of holidays, we're right here at the holiday season, and if you're going through something where whether it's you're fighting this monster or what the case may be, just remember. In fact, I had to tell a young lawyer today. She told me today in one sentence, she used the word never, and it's your only option. And so I had to educate her. One, never say never. Two, it ain't my only option. I always have options. There's always options. So I'm going to just step back to a part of my story. And this is in Alabama, and it's going on about the third year that my son is missing. Okay. And so, for whatever reason, around Christmas time, I just, on the third year that he was gone, I had it in my head that he was going to be home. I just knew that he was going to be home. And I hadn't decorated previously. But this year I knew he was going to be home. So I got the tree and cause I felt it. And so I got the presents and the presents wrapped and I went through the lights and I just, even up to New Year's Eve, I was on my knees praying for a miracle and it didn't come. And so even on Christmas morning, I'm still, I'm still holding the faith that I'm going to see my son. And it turned into a very depressive feeling. And I knew not to, in the back of my mind, I said, you're really setting yourself up for failure with this. But it was Christmas, it was raining, it was cold in Alabama, which, is it's about 40 degrees, which is summertime here in Maine. Um, so I reached out to my brother, and of course he was fully aware of the whole situation, and he come and got me, and we rode our motorcycles. We rode because that's part of my therapy is wind therapy, and so we rode and we rode and we rode, and we ended up at the movies on Christmas Day, and one, but about six other people in there. And my brother, he was a big old guy, 6'4", 280 pounds. We're watching this movie, and I hear somebody sniffling, and I look over at him, and I'm like, "Don't tell me you're crying in here." And it just, became such a laughing point every year. So just, if you're dealing with stuff, reach out to somebody, reach out to a friend. You can find me on Facebook. I'll talk to you because I'm going through some stuff right now myself. But definitely um, don't ever accept never, and don't ever accept your only option because there's always more.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, and I just want to say we're about to leave Alabama and we're going to Colorado. So
On our way.
we're on our way. All right. So while we're making the decision to move, of course, in the last thing I talked about the officer that gave me the DUI, right? So I know it's time to leave, and because of what I was previously warned of. And so we start looking, right? And this was such a funny process because I had job offers at different places, and me personally, I wanted to try Alaska, the North Slope, right? And I wanted to go up there and just experience that. And so my youngest son, Gabriel, or my youngest son, I'll just say that my youngest son, he had never seen a snowmobile before because, as you can imagine, you don't really see them in Alabama at all. So
Right.
I'm like, Gabe, I was like, son, we can snowmobile. And so he's like, well, what's that? And so first video I pulled up, it was horrendous. It was horrible. The kid bounced off the snowmobile. It was just like he went running out of my office. He was like, no. So I got outvoted on Alaska, and we ended up going to Colorado. So this is in 2019, and get to Colorado, and we're in Aurora, and like the area. I got to say, I love the mountains out there. Um, Eastern Colorado should have been called Western Kansas because it's just as flat as Kansas. But at that time I had a wife and I had three stepkids. We were the Partridge family almost, and so we're headed to Colorado. And I was checking on a job out there, and I ended up getting the job. I was out there, but I wanted to see the area first, because I hadn't been there. And so we chose to live in Aurora, Colorado, which has been on the news lately. But quite a place, With I moved into, I got lucky, very lucky, into a nice home there. And this is after leaving my dream home. I mean, I had to leave my dream home, my parents that were there. I mean, all my friends, my family, all my connections. I worked for a very good company, and the DUI ended my work at the company. It was broadcasted down there, and so that's a being being a safety professional. That's the last thing you want representing your company is somebody that's got a DUI splashed across the newspaper. But anyway, um, so we get to Colorado, we get this nice place, and I'll have to say this: that was the first time I've ever lived in an HOA. So that was a new curving experience. But honestly, I picked the area where we lived because of the school district. The school district had such a great rating and such great reviews, and it was unbelievable. So I was lucky to get a home in this area, and I was lucky enough to make enough money to pay for it. And so 2019, uh, I send the notice to the non-custodial, and I go all through the steps for those that have experience in having to move, and of course having it argued and all that good stuff. Because I moved 3 times in Alabama, and I had to argue it each time, and then doesn't show up, but still cost me a day of work and
Mhm.
$1 in lawyer fees. But so of course um, the I get to Colorado, and they end up having an ex parte hearing in Alabama. After I sent the moving notice, I've got the job, I've got the house. I haven't enrolled the kids in school yet because it's summertime, right? We're in July right now. And so, so 2 weeks after, because I sent it certified mail, uh, and they had my address in Colorado, I was hit by a hit and run driver on my motorcycle, and my wife was also on the back. And what I was doing was timing myself to my office, and so a lot of this is a blur to me. But what the officers had said, there was actually two officers behind me when this happened, and I thought I got clipped from the left side, and they said that there was a car sitting on the right side of the road, and it just pulled out and hit me when I come up to them. So both the officers stopped. The car had out of state tags, and it was a light colored sedan. That's the description of the car. um, so unfortunately, my wife took the worst of that. We both took some pretty heavy duty injuries. Unfortunately, the bike was a total loss. And I did get a ticket for not being able to provide my insurance there in the emergency room ICU at Denver University Hospital. But anyway, uh, we got that worked out. But that was a bad hit, So I'm not saying it's custodial parent. It could be a coincidence of time, and somebody just felt like running a silver after they knew where they were. So who knows? But I can't say for a fact because nobody went after the driver. So, with that being said, uh, in after the accident, the non-custodial parent had an ex parte court hearing with our judge, and the judge gave her custody without me even knowing about it or being there. And so what happens is the judge orders my son to stay in the mother's custody. All right. Now, there's already been allegations of SA, and there's also been some other very disturbing stuff, not to mention kidnapping and everything that's taken place while we were in Alabama. But now we've been in a horrific motorcycle accident. Now, just out of the blue, so the non-custodial comes to Colorado, and the judge assigned a paper for the sheriff's department to give her the child. And I am like, get out of here. I mean, because we went to pick him up at school and he was gone. And then the sheriffs finally showed up to let us know what happened. So, prior to that happening, I guess when the non custodial got to Colorado, she filed a PFA against me as soon as she got there. Surprise, surprise. This is about the 12th or 13th. But she files a PFA. Of course, I've got to spend more money on a lawyer. And lawyers are more expensive in Denver than they are Alabama. So, it's like feeding a machine, the CPS machine. It just runs on this system of lawyers feeding it, and no action, and more court dates and more court dates and papers that are worthless. But anyway, and one of the reasons why I say never is I ended up taking the judge to court, and I don't mind having this framed on my wall because I took the judge to court and I won, and she had to return my child. She was ordered to return my son. So, that's just the first court order against this judge. But so my son returns to me from Alabama. He has not been in school the entire time. He's I don't really want to throw out what he's communicated to me privately, but he was not in a healthy situation without a doubt. So we go through this PFA thing in Colorado, and I do the registration of foreign decree. He's been adjudicated a resident of Colorado. I'm his father, and I get him back in January. And of course, when I go to court for the PFA, non-custodial doesn't show, and she was ordered to pay my lawyer fees, which of course still haven't been paid, never been paid. But so we're going into 2020, right? I've got my son back. It's the early part of January, and the pandemic. And regardless if you're pro shot or no shot, whatever, it disrupted all of our lives in some way. So what happens is in the court order that the visitation goes by is the non-custodial has to notify me 2 weeks prior if she is going to exercise her visitation. So we roll on into April 11th of 2020. And I touched on this just a little bit before. And we're doing the Brady Bunch thing with the kids. I'm taking 3, my wife takes 3. This Saturday morning, the day before Easter, my son is not there. He's gone. And so we're looking, and I could see in her eyes that he was not there when she ran upstairs, she ran downstairs, and it was that's a feeling I wish on nobody. And I know a lot of us have had that. I have it the entire time my kids are in CPS custody, because it's a machine and it's a monster, and they're not out for the best interests of the children. So anyway, along comes April 11th. And so the police come, and they check video cameras. We call his friends. And long story short, they were able to ping his phone and his mother's phone. And for whatever reason, they said that they could ping it one time without a warrant. And my oldest son explained that their phones, his mother had taken the phones, but had put them in while they were driving through Texas for about 10 minutes. And lo and behold, that's when they pinged. So they asked me, where did I think they were going since they were in Texas? And I said, most likely Mississippi. So I know we've just touched foot in Colorado, but here's my oldest being hijacked and kidnapped and taken to Mississippi, and the non-custodial is armed. So they ended up doing the detectives on it was April 10th. That is the day that he came up gone, I believe, or April 11th, whatever day it was. It's in the book. But anyway, they wanted to go through. The detective was so nervous that he was going to miss something in the court orders. They had to go through a stack of court orders about that tall before they understood that I was the custodial parent. So they woke a judge up in the middle of the night, Easter morning, to have this judge sign a warrant. And because I suspected of where she was going. And sure enough, the next day, which is Easter, of course, our Easter is just, our Easter spirit just was bummed. The Easter dinner disrupted, just everything disrupted, which is what CPS likes to do. And, these organizations live on disruption. But so anyway, the detective calls me, and it's Easter about 11 o'clock, and he says, "We got her. They arrested her where you said that you thought she was going. You need to call the sheriff down there in this county in Mississippi and make arrangements as soon as you can to get down there." I was like, "No problem." First thing I did, I started calling the airlines and looking up through my travel package stuff and all that. So during 2020, they had just had Mardi Gras, and even the airports down there were shut down. So, I ended up having to drive, and I'm in Colorado. The only thing I have to drive down there that I feel will make it is this Hummer that H2 Hummer that I've gotten for my wife because she was from Florida and never driven in the snow before. So for the half a block she had to take the kids to school, I wanted to make sure she had the safest vehicle possible. Safety first. But anyway, so as you can imagine, this vehicle did not get good gas mileage. It's my only way of going. I tell the sheriff I'm leaving. I'm headed that way right now, the sheriff in Mississippi. So he says, you got to be here. You got to come on. I said, I'm leaving the house in 40 minutes. So in that time, as I'm grabbing clothes and documents and I'm getting in the car, then my wife's oldest daughter wanted to go, and then because she was going to help drive, and she had just gotten her license, and so then her brother wanted to go to keep her company, and then his sister wanted to go. So I ended up taking three of the kids with me, and here we go. So we're headed to southern Mississippi from Denver, Colorado. Now, I will say this as a plus. I did buy gas in Texas for $1.05 a gallon. Okay. And I was actually a little upset when I got a couple more miles down the road and seen it for $1.03. It was the lowest I've seen gas like in the last 10 years. But it wasn't a lot of people driving on the road either. So um, Dallas was completely empty. It was spooky that there was, it was spooky. There was no crazy traffic in Dallas. Imagine that. But so as I'm leaving, and I'm about 2.5 hours into the trip, this caseworker calls me from Mississippi. Okay. And she says, um, well, why don't you just leave him with her? Why don't he wants to stay with her? She wants him to stay with her. First, she asked for me to leave him with her parents. Now, her mother also had driven up here with her with the gun and got my son. Okay. So, no, I'm not leaving him with the parents. I explained to her, I'm not driving 26 hours to get there and have to look for him, because that's exactly what would have happened. And I told her I am driving directly to you. I told her I would be there 10:30 the next morning and I would be ready to receive him, right? So then she says, she says, well, we're going to have a court hearing. I was like, a court hearing for what? And she said, well, we took him to the doctor and his, now by this time they have already released the non-custodial parent who is a kidnapper. Okay. So they've already released her from jail because Colorado is not expediting anybody because of COVID. So they release her. So this caseworker says to me, um, she says, first, why don't you allow them to watch them till you get here? No, I'm on my way. So I get down there and I'm pretty accurate with my timing. I was there about 10:25 and I called the caseworker and she tells me my son's at a doctor's appointment. And guess who he's at the doctor's appointment with? The non-custodial parent, who also has an active warrant for kidnapping. Just because they didn't expedite her doesn't mean she still don't have a warrant. Okay. And I'm like, I specifically expressed for you not to do this, So I end up down in Mississippi and down there in the bayou. And the hostility towards me from the first communication at the courthouse was unbelievable. I mean, it was hostile. In fact, I was afraid I was going to jail, which was not not the focus of the mission. But this officer come at me left, right, and center. And who am I here to see? And no, you can't come in the courthouse. And just gives me the runaround. So, and at the same time, I'm talking to a lawyer in Alabama and I'm talking to a lawyer in Colorado. They both charging me and they can't do nothing in Mississippi because neither of them's licensed to practice in Mississippi. All right. So now we've got a guardian ad litem involved in Mississippi because I have to go to a hearing. So I ended up the hearing wasn't for 2 days. Okay. So I don't know what they had going on that would make them push back this hearing for 2 days because it seemed like absolutely nothing. But I did end up driving a couple towns away to spend the night. So I did not want to be in their county or in their jurisdiction. I knew that. So I actually, as you can imagine, a Hummer sticks out. So when I drove a couple towns away, I used my rental car points and I rented a different vehicle driving back for court. So on my way back, it was amazing to see these officers that were posted up at the entrance to town. And I'm not, maybe they were doing whatever, probably looking for a black Hummer. But me and this little Toyota Corolla passed on by them and we had court and it was audacious. But in the end, the GAL said there's absolutely, he is the father, he is the parental. Levi, my oldest son's a resident of Colorado, and you must release him to me. So great. So now I've spent days away from work. I've spent all this money. I've spent hotel, and now I've still got to drive back to Colorado. And by the time I got back to Colorado, the CPS caseworker in Mississippi and the non-custodial parent had already contacted CPS in Arapahoe County, Colorado. And it was, oh my goodness, it was unbelievable. But I didn't know this at the time. I'm driving back. We're driving back. And so we get back and the officer, the detective, wants to do a deposition with my oldest, but they're going to do it via communication, online communication, because it's COVID. So, and we just passed through all those states, so we had to be like quarantined in our own home anyway. Especially like Texas had signs up that said, if you were from Louisiana, don't stop. And I
Mhm.
believe them. I believe them. I mean, that was like on the interstate, and we just came from Louisiana, so um, we heeded their advice. We kept going, except for gas, and I couldn't find $1.03 on the way back. But anyway, so I get back. He does his deposition, which is recorded, which is horrible, which is sickening, which is hurtful as a parent, and ununderstandable as a co-parent. Ununderstandable for anybody to do what took place. So here comes Colorado CPS to the rescue, and they got reports that I'm a gang member. Let me see, I'm a drug dealer. What else did I do? Oh, just you name it. It's like all through the years it's progressed, right? And I never figured out how they were going to top accusing me of 6 murders. And we're going to get to that real shortly, but they found a way. Um, so here's this caseworker, right? Now, my youngest 2 children, who are ADA protected, they are in a just a because structure and everything in this was just a lot for them. And then to have, after all of that, CPS come banging on the door. I mean, after these kids moved from Alabama because of all the all the false reporting, all the court, all the watching dad go to jail, you know, it broke my heart, because I promised them this wouldn't happen again, you know, and that's where I say CPS is systematically broken across the country, because there's no oversight, there's no accountability, there's damn sure not enough training for these people. They should start with a constitutional class. But anyway, we come into uh, got CPS, right? This woman calls me and she says, "We've got this report about you." And I was like, "Well, surprise, surprise." All right. And now the cops, so I'm living in this HOA neighborhood, very nice house. The cops have been there for the PFA. The cops have been there for this. Cops have been there for that. And then of course my oldest son's kidnapping, and I'm sure the neighbors absolutely hate me by now, because I, but I was out of my control. But so this caseworker calls me and she says, "We've got these reports." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And, I was like, "Listen, you're going to have to, um, at first she said, 'Can I talk to you or whatever?' And I was like, 'Whatever. I'm working a lot of hours at this time trying to get out of the hole I'm in.'" And so she parks down the street from my house and walks up to my house, and like she was just going to come on up and come into my house and talk to my kids. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. And so I told her, I said, "Look," and I'm still trying to be the nice guy. I'm trying to be the nice guy. I'm like, "Look, I've got a special needs child that's going off the walls. His younger brother, I can't get him off my leg." I said, "You're not coming in here and talking to them till I talk to an attorney or you get a warrant or whatever." And so during the conversation, she was so new and untrained, it was unbelievable. I was like, you really don't know what you're stepping into. You're about to step on a landmine. And I did get her job. Okay, so never say never, because she did lose her job over what took place. But so we get into CPS now because I won't talk to them. Then I must be a drug dealer. I must be a gang member. I'm doing something. I have to be doing something because I had some friends that ride motorcycles visit me in Colorado. I'm definitely up to no good, right? Except for I'm doing nothing but working, doing the grocery shopping, doing regular life shit. So who's got time to do that stuff? Once you become a parent, that time it evaporates. You don't have time for that stuff. Not that that was ever true, but I'm just saying that. So they show up, and I tell them, I won't communicate with you unless it's through email, through documentation.
Mhm.
Long story short, I said, loop your supervisor into this. They told me that the mother is the one that called in, and she let that slip. That's how untrained I knew she was. She had probably just gotten her degree, or her LCW, LCSW, I believe it is. But anyway, um, it was nonstop. Then enter Nasita Robbins. So Nasita Robbins, and this is another reason why they say never say never. And I love what I heard in that song about them being behind bars, because that's where we're not Robin Nasita's at. She is behind bars 4 years, you know. And while I don't think that's even close to enough time, that's one. That's one behind bars. We got a
Mhm.
lot more to get, a lot
That's-
more. So,
Yeah.
and I'm in it to win it. I never give up. No matter how bad they try to beat me down, whether how bad they try to destroy my character, no matter how bad they try to destroy my name, they can't destroy my character and they can't destroy my will to fight, you know? And maybe I'm smart, maybe I'm just too dumb to realize, but who cares? I'm in it for the I will fight. And when it's just abominable. It gets me upset. So here we got these caseworkers, right? They are like trying to sneak up to the house. They're beating on the windows. They're taking pictures of my ADA protected children in the window of the living room. They got a car parked across the street with a camera in it, and like the black blanket that was on it fell down, and you could just see the camera pointed at the door. Because I asked the neighbors, is that your car? Why is your camera pointed at my front door? you know, I thought that was like maybe some voyeurism type stuff or something. I don't know. I just was like, and it wasn't his car, it was just consistent harassment. So I finally told him, I said, listen, you either take me to court or you leave me alone. All right. I said, I'll not talk to you no more. You know, I've had enough of this. And my kids don't deserve it. My family don't deserve it. And that's where it stands. So, of course, they blew that statement up into, you know, oh, he's so defiant because he won't work with them. So this is what they did. They called me at about the 37.5 hour mark to tell me I had court in 37.5 hours. All right. So, yeah, I'm like, they didn't even serve me a warrant, not even legal. Right. So, um, and by the way, they were charging me and my wife separately. And I do believe that was probably the pull pin on her, because she was a widow. She had experienced a lot of weird shit being with me. Yeah, like police following you everywhere. But she did. I think that was the final straw. I think the motorcycle accident and the fact that CPS was coming over after her kids as well is what done it. But what also done it is I had to pay for 2 lawyers now within 37.5 hours to go. So here we go into court. And man, I don't know where I'm at time wise.
We got about 10 more minutes, my man.
All right. I don't want to run over anybody that has something to say or anything like
Oh,
that,
no.
but we're probably going to have a part 3 to this without a
Yeah,
doubt.
for sure.
If anybody wants to hear it. So anyway, like I said, I got court, and you know, in court, they've done this big investigation into me, and oh my goodness. And I was accused, and of course we're doing Zoom court, still 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I was accused of killing 6 people. They said that I killed 6 people. And my mouth just dropped open. First thing that came to mind was, are they okay? I mean, that's what I said. Because I was like, are you kidding me? 6 people? I was like, who were they?
Serial killer.
Yeah. And this is the worst part about it, is I filed a complaint with Colorado Bureau of Investigations, and they certified the investigation saying it was true.
Wow.
But when the FBI got involved, it all disappeared. Craziest thing ever. Somebody was able to access the NCIC database, put 6 murders in there, and pull it back out, in a time frame from when I was told to the FBI did the background check. So they just fabricated it in court, and it was such a fabrication that like they had to have seen the shock on my face, and I was like, "Do you realize how long they will put you in prison in Alabama for just doing something minor?"
Right.
You think I killed 6 people and I'm walking around? No, no, it doesn't happen that way. But man, I hate to do this. I think we're at a pretty good stopping point, because I would like to shout out a poem though. Can I try out a poem to the audience? It is.
You sure can, my man. Do it up.
Right.
Absolutely.
So please, any feedback on this. So this is a true story, and it's called Poetry from a Tired Father. Sleep, little baby, and please quit crying. Daddy's doing all he can, and that's not lying. It's 3 a.m. and I need sleep. I would have got a babysitter, but she wasn't cheap. I changed your diaper and fed you a bottle. I was having a dream of riding full throttle. Sitting up or lying flat, you just ain't having any of that. The clock is rounding 6 and the coffee's made. Biscuits in the oven while I start to shave. My sons are starting to wake. There's a joy in my heart that I cannot shake. The baby's smiling, and that's a joy. He only wanted his favorite toy.
That's good stuff, man. The struggle is real. The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
Yep. Man. Well, that's good. So where does the story continue to? Where's part 3 going to take us? Is this when you take us up to Maine? You come up to
Well,
Howard?
that's going to have to be on Sunday, though, because this is my Friday.
That's right. This is it. This is it for Tiff. This is Friday night. This is her party
So it's
night.
going to have to be on Sunday.
Whatever.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up in 3, because 3 is going to bring us to that picture we talked about earlier.
Oh man, I'm not excited for it, but I can't wait to get on that picture.
And that's going
really
to give me time, Darren, to look at what you sent me.
Well,
Oh,
that's
good.
like I said. I always wondered how they were going to top 6 murders. They
Yeah.
did. They topped it.
You ain't lying there.
All right.
But, all right, guys.
I got to put the little one to bed, and my daughter's here, and we're going to continue this Sunday at 7.
Sunday at 7 it
Sounds
is.
great.
All right,
Thank
Mr.
everybody. Thank everybody for listening, and I appreciate it. And once again, much love to Carrie's family. While I didn't know her, I understand she was deep footed in the struggle. So
Yes, she was. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you all same time, same place. Sunday it is. Tiffany, go easy tonight. I know it's our Friday. So just be easy.
I will.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
This is a story about a family who is no longer a sad journey that was done on purpose. Believe the words I'll say, here is the truth. Let's just pray it never happens to you. You knock on the door, you freeze in peril. You look around and there's nothing available. Panic, you scream, you run in circles. You knock on the door over. You look outside, the car's on the road. The police on the yard waiting in limbo. Your life is changing so fast, looking out the window. In just a moment and things will turn bad. Prepare for the next part, it's real sad. They say hello sir, we need your daughter. I tell them no. They say you wanna, you run to us now. I tell them no way, go away, never come back. They answer with force and pin you down. They search all the rooms and look around. They find your baby girl. They tell me we got her. Now your family is torn apart, pleading your innocence from the start. Nobody listens, nobody cares. All you're left with is empty stairs. The house is empty, no love to be felt. They grabbed your baby, it's a feeling you never felt. You fight so hard to have her return. All they do is torture you, are feeling like burn. You do what they say, answer the question. They just keep telling you that you need lessons. You're not worthy of being a father. We don't want you to see your daughter. We don't know what you have done, but we'll say you're guilty, this has begun. We're not taking your heart, your soul. You'll be alone now as you grow old. You are going away and die, no one will be there to cry. All by yourself, You can't do a thing. No one wants you around. No one believes you did nothing wrong. You gave your best fight. There was nothing you could do. I'll always remember the lonely December. You took my heart out for nothing. There was no reason for what was done. No one listened, not a one. As I lay dying on this bed, my visions are you running through my head. I'm sorry for nothing. I didn't do enough. I thought about you always. I didn't do enough. One day I'll be with you again, living in a world that you are in. Maybe that time I'll do it right. I'll be able to say goodnight. But for now, this life is over. There will be no more pain. I won't miss you in shame. I don't have to play this game. The unfair life that I was living, it's no memory. Hope you can be forgiven. I had it all once, they took it all away. So good night, sweet princess, pleasant dreams.